I'm not normally into horror movies. Watching a bunch of horny morons get killed off by a superpowered serial killer does nothing for me. But the Tremors franchise is not like most horror franchises. Instead of a psychopath with knives, its enemies are giant carnivorous worms that then turn to chickens, that then turn to farting chickens. It also has smart and reasonable protagonists, and also Kevin Bacon, including everyone's favorite gun-obsessed, conspiracy-minded, anti-government nutjob, Burt Gummer. And today I ask a question no one in the history of man has ever asked. Can you beat Fallout 4 as Burt Gummer? I spawn in the vault, try and make my best Michael Gross circa Tremors 1, do an alright job, and assign my special stats. I go with 5 strength, because I plan on using heavy weapons, 6 perception, because with the bobblehead that allows me to take refractor, 3 endurance for life giver, 3 charisma for lone wanderer, 6 intelligence, both for science, and because Burt in the movies frequently makes plans that actually work out, 2 agility, to be raised to 3 with the Your Special book for sneak, and 3 luck, because have you seen how graboids explode? Every protagonist in this franchise has bloody mess. I talked with Codsworth, scavenge around Sanctuary for some clothes, and come up with a policeman hat and a drifter outfit. The hat is just a stopgap until I can get an actual baseball cap, but the drifter outfit I'll defend. Burt Gummer has worn green, he's worn flannel, and he's worn a jacket. Well, this outfit is all 3. Now seems as good a time as any to go over the rules for this challenge. Obviously I have to look, dress, and act like Burt Gummer, but what about weapons? Well, honestly, any gun would work for Burt, see the giant wall of guns from Tremors 1, but I have a very specific gun in mind. I trek over to Salem and witness a Burt Gummer impersonator failed to shoot some crabs in a barrel, and I'm forced to use my pissant starting firearms to take down the overgrown crustaceans. We meet inside his bunker, and he has the audacity to get mad at me for freezing up, as if he's any better. He sends me to reactivate his turrets, and I try and kill the remaining Mirelurks by leading them to the turrets, but they seem to have learned from the last time I did this and refuse to get in their line of sight. I reactivate the turrets, Barney Rook gives me Reba 2, and I decide,
there can be only one!
And kill the wannabe Burt. Unfortunately, I don't have any bullets for Reba 2 yet, so I turn my pipe pistol into a rifle and make my way over to Concord. I cleanse the street of filth, take care of the pesky raider problem inside the Museum of Freedom, and agree to use the power armor on the roof to rip off the minigun and blow away the remaining raiders. You see, the problem with that is that Burt Gummer never used no stinking power armor, so instead I use cover to pick off the raiders and play tag with the Deathclaw because it too has learned from previous experience and runs away when I headshot it through a window. I meet the hapless peasants back at Sanctuary, learn that they are either too stupid or too lazy to fix the place up themselves, give them all the beds, water, food, and protection they'll ever need, and Sturgis rewards me with a hearty thank you. Up yours too, buddy. I picked up a few 308 rounds from the Raiders in Concord, and wanting more, I walk over to Drumlin Diner and cap Wolfgang and Simone. I buy my body weight in bullets, execute a raider mourning their dead friend, get slapped by Smokey the Bear, and meet up with the settlers of Oberlin Station. They need me to clear out the raiders in the Corvega assembly plant. Do you know what happens to a human skull when it's blasted by some 308? The same thing that happens to everything else, dumbass. Armed with this knowledge, I headshot every raider in and around the joint, report my success to the settlers, and make my way to Diamond City. I backhand Piper for dressing like a chimney sweep, take a nap in a church pew, execute someone's crazy-ass brother, buy an Atlanta Hawks cap from Mo Cronin, and agree to retrieve some memorabilia for him. I use my anti-bug gun to clear out some Mirelurks, and find a 2-shot laser musket on a legendary one. In case you don't know, 2-shot laser muskets are one of the best weapons you can get. The 2-shot effect stacks with each crank, so if you fully crank one out, it basically evaporates everything in the game. Unfortunately, Burt never shot no laser gun, so I just recover the memorabilia, turn it into Mo, and store the gun next to my broken dreams. I finally get sick of Travis's nervous, stuttering ass stinging up my radio, so I walk into the dugout inn, walk right back out, and walk in again. Vadim starts complaining that Travis is a terrible radio host, and suggests murder as the solution. His brother informs me that he's just joking, and Vadim takes me into the back room to discuss the real plan. He wants to stage a bar fight with Travis to raise his confidence, so I kill some time in Fallon's basement by buying some cage armor, which is just the drifter outfit with metal bits epoxied to it, buy some aviators at Diamond City Surplus, meet Travis in the bar, and in an attempt to not fail the challenge, smash Bull's face in with the butt of my rifle. Huh, I didn't know you could actually kill either of these goons. Vadim reprimands me for murdering a man in cold blood and sends me off to ask his bartender to ask out Travis. You see, if he did it as her boss, that would be prostitution. but if I do it, it's just plain old sexual harassment. Scarlet agrees to talk with Travis, and I return to the bar, where Yafim informs me that some hooligans kidnapped Vadim and plan on doing unkind things to his butthole. I ask Travis for help, he agrees to come along, and we meet up at the Beantown Brewery and exterminate all life there. Vadim excluded, of course. Vadim thanks me with drugs, and Travis decides that his being a pussy days are behind him. It's like my grandpa used to say, everyone's a little bitch until they brutally murder their fellow man for the first time. I finally report back to Preston, he makes me a 10-star general, and I clear out the Sunshine Tidings for the Minutemen. I decide that I need an upgrade to my arsenal, so I make my way over to Good Neighbor, murder Finn before he does anything wrong, and talk with a stranger I met in an alley. She offers me a job digging a hole, so I go to the dig site, where my coworkers stir up some mirelurks, and they decide that a steady paycheck is for pussies. I send the Jumbo Prawn to Crab Hell. I explain to Bobby that my ex-coworkers must be spitters, due to them being quitters, and we meet up in Diamond City. She wants me to break a man out of jail, and I know from experience that he's only in there for a day, so after talking with him, I step outside, and I don't even have to wait because that triggers his release. Back at the dig site, Mel has constructed a robot that can blast through dirt, and we use this contraption to try and break into the Diamond City strong room. Along the way, I'm forced to play Exterminator again and deal with more mirelurks. I put down a crown of ravenous K-pop stands and make it to the strong room. Is what I would say, but Bobby has pulled the wool over our eyes and instead had us hit Hancock's storeroom. I was okay from stealing from a mayor, but I draw the line at stealing from a mayor with a cool jacket. I convince Bobby that this score isn't worth our lives, she concurs, and Fair Night rewards me for not committing grand theft with a hot new gun. Now, I can't really afford to stay stocked up on 5mm ammo for this thing, but according to the independent Fallout wiki, which as we all know has no incorrect information on it whatsoever, if an enemy or companion picks up a dropped minigun, they will also spawn roughly 500 rounds of 5mm ammunition in their inventory. So I say sorry to Hancock, he says he's going soft, it's goodbye to Good Neighbor, I drop Ashmaker on the floor, he picks it up, and doesn't spawn any ammo. Well, that was a massive waste of time. This is fine, there's another big gun I can go after. I arrive at the USS Constitution, get conscripted by a robot, and start the best quest in the base game. I get accosted by the first mate, meet Captain Ironsides, and the ship gets attacked by pirates. We blow them to hell with the cannons, and I get sent below deck to meet with Boson. Boson sends me off to do some repairs, and might I just say that I love how there are skill checks in this quest. It makes me wonder if this quest was designed early on in development before a direction change, or if the guy who designed it was just more into RPG mechanics than the rest of the crew. Anyway, I do all the repairs that I can. Boson sends me to the navigator, who requests I recover a guidance chip that was stolen by some land pirates. I talk with said pirates, convince them I'm on their side, they give me the chip, I install it, and then the navigator sends me on another goddamn fetch quest to retrieve a radar transmitter. I walk to the Poseidon energy turbine, and completely miss the door because I have the spatial awareness of a deaf bat. I eventually find my way to the entrance, deal with some bugs, and retrieve the part. I'm then jumped by some mirelurks, and I attempt to fend them off, but eventually realize that having a dick measuring contest with Megafauna is a losing game, and fuck off. I install the part, talk with Ironsides, reveal to him that the pirates are in fact bad people, and get sent to a radiant location for the final ship part. And that location is... Fort Hagen! Huh. I didn't know that was a valid Radiant Quest location.
Learn something dumb every day.
Inside, the place is swarming with DARPA agents, but that's nothing a liberal application of my Second Amendment rights can't fix. I recover the bearings, put them where they need to go, the crew and I make a last stand against the pirates, I receive what I came here for, and launch the Constitution out for the building it's stuck in and into another building. God, I love this quest. I stock up on cannonballs, and try and invite Sheffield to one of my settlements. Unfortunately, he's feeling antisocial today, so I punish his behavior with some 308 to the back. This fixes his attitude, and I send him to Red Rocket so it counts as an inhabited settlement. Next on my recruitment spree is Abernathy Farm. Blake is all mopey because raiders killed his daughter, and I decide to cheer him up by inflicting bloody vengeance on the Finks that did that to her. Inside their base, I blast the first person I see with my new cannon, and they explode into thick red chunks. I then get my animal abuse in for the day by blowing up his dog, use my portable war crime to obliterate the remaining raiders, recover the locket, and return it to Blake. For my final trick, I head on over to 10 Pines Bluff, and the residents there send me over to Walden Pond for an extermination job. I eavesdrop on a riveting conversation, decide that's actually boring and blow the converser's brains out, do the same to their bastard friends, report back to 10 Pines Bluff, and they agree to join the Minutemen, making 6 allied settlements. And you know what that means! That's right, we now have enough settlements to retake the castle. I upgrade my cannon to become a maximum over cannon and make my way to the castle. Some mirelurks chase me to the meeting spot. I encounter them so much you think they were graboids and shoot some oil outside the meeting spot to kill them. This also ignites a car that explodes while we're having our Tremors style planning sequence, killing the guy that normally suggests luring out the mirelurks, so it gets to his turn, there's just an awkward silence. I found this very funny. We swiftly take out the king crabs and start smashing some eggs, when suddenly a giant behemoth crab emerges from the ocean and starts wrecking our shit. God damn it, no one told me we're going to be fighting Poseidon's side chick today.
I feel I was denied critical, need to know information.
Thankfully, a few shots from the broadsider is able to fell this mighty beast. Tragically, it looks like Preston got the kill shot, so my day is ruined. I do one last mission to clear out the Starlight Drive-In, and I have just the shittiest aim here. I put out the signal for people to flock to this dry, barren, booby-trapped shithole, and that's enough to be able to form ranks when the time comes to assault the Institute. Step 2 in my master plan to fend off the Institute is to recruit as many companions as I can and station them at the castle. I've already allied with Hancock, so I send him on his way. I do Piper's interview, and that's enough to dislodge her from Diamond City and into the castle. I then recruit Dogmeat, a dog so famous that he has an entire truck stop named after his dick. I tell Preston to station himself at the castle with the rest of the Minutemen, and I tell Codsworth to fuck off, both to the castle and also in general. Next stop is the combat zone to commit raider genocide, and also to recruit Kate, but mostly the genocide. I double back to Good Neighbor and purchase McCready. Is that the correct turn of phrase for what actually happens? No. No, it is not. Am I going to correct myself at all? No. No, I am not. Next on the list is Trinity Tower, and I splatter the green bastard's lack of brains all over the place and send Strong on his way. Fortuitously, I leveled up to 15 while doing this, so I can come to the rescue of Ada's caravan about 30 seconds too late. I mop up the swarm bots, promise Ada that I'll help avenge her fallen comrades, break that promise immediately and send her to the castle, and loot the body of her formerly alive friends. The last recruit on our shopping list is Curie, so I bribe my way into Vault 81, give some blood to Dr. Acula, rescue the only cat in the world that will come when you call its name, ask me how I know that, and return to the vault to discover the annoying kid who wanted to sell me a tour got swallowed by a graboid and I need to extract the antidote to cure him. I managed to make it through the mole rat horde and not get infected by moving slowly and cautiously, taking my time, and I'm just kidding, I quick saved the shit out of this section. I lie to Curie, she gives me the cure, the snot-nosed punk lives to suck another day, and I free Curie from being confined in Vault 81 and then immediately confine her to the castle. Now that the castle is mostly stocked with troops, more on that in a bit, I return there and meet everyone's favorite crotchety old woman, Ronnie Shaw. She's impressed by the work I, and only I, have been doing, and she wants to get us set up with artillery. I use my Destructo Vision trademark to clear away some rubble, use my personal artillery to blow away Sarge, loot the body of a noble hero, construct a boom catapult, show an empty building who's boss, and now I'm off to rescue a tin man who thinks he's Humphrey Bogart. As I massacre the Triggermen, I think now is as good a time as any to go over the remaining companions and why I will or will not be recruiting them. Obviously I can't recruit Nick until I spring him from jail, but I'll send him over to the castle just as soon as I can. X6 will turn hostile when I'm booted from the Institute, so he's out. Gage and Longfellow would have me going far out of my way to get them, and I just couldn't be bothered. Deacon I'll get when I get to the railroad. I just want to bite off all their quests in one shot. And as for Dance, well, with all the other companions stationed at the castle, along with the other Minutemen stationed there, that maxes out the population limit with my charisma. Yeah, Codsworth and Robot Curie don't count towards settlement population, but Ada does. The game's weird like that. Anyway, I open Dino's mind, spring the metal man from his cage, leave a string of widows in my wake as I redecorate the vault with Triggerman blood, see if I could have been sarcastic and have resolved the situation peacefully during the last Fallout 4 challenge. I could have, and agree to beat Nick in Diamond City. I do Nick's interview, try and find that perfect sweet spot where I can steal the key to General Mills's house from Geneva's desk, fail, and resort to using a stealth boy in order to avoid speaking with another human. I break into the General's house, steal his stogies, tell Dogmeat to track him down, and teleport straight to the bastard. The DARPA agents have respawned, curses, but unfortunately for them, I have something I didn't have last time. A cannon! I reduce the agents to scrap and confront Kellogg. He may be tough, but ain't no man ever been born that can take 3 cannonballs to the chest and live. I discover that the feds have my son, they can keep him for all I care, and I step outside to see the Brotherhood fly in on one of those, Ario speed wagons I've heard so much about. This joke has officially run its course. I return to Nick's office. He says he knows a guy, Asterix, who can help me, and we make for good neighbor. I have Dr. Amari to file a corpse, drapes through the memories of a bastard man, find a nice plot coupon, and Dr. Amari has the audacity to ask me what I thought of walking through the mind of my wife's killer. I give the appropriate response of, fuck that guy. I show some iodine where the sun don't shine, and take a walk through the glowing sea. I may or may not have misread analgesic as analgesic, but that's neither here nor there. The cantankerous cabal of crazy-ass nutjobs point me toward Virgil. I scare off a Deathclaw with the best firepower the 18th century has to offer, and meet up with Virgil. I explain the situation to him, and he concludes that the best course of action is offing myself. Okay, technically, he tells me to hunt down and kill a courser, but I know demonetization dodging code phrases when I hear them. This man is telling me to commit sauce on side. I track one down to Green Tech Genetics, turn the gunners infesting the place into giblets, and confront the courser. I try and blast him in the chest with my artillery, but I miss most of my shots. At point blank range.
You missed! With a cannon!
I eventually figure out which end of the cannon to point toward the enemy, and now I need to get this chip decoded. So I follow the Freedom Trail, and by that I mean script straight to the end, enter one of the worst passwords known to man, though according to y'all not the most insecure password, and meet the railroad. Now, I know most of y'all want me to shove my cannon up their collective asses and light the fuse, but counterpoint. I want ballistic weave. Oh yeah, and Burt Gummer would never harm an innocent person, yada yada, blah blah blah. I talk with Deacon about joining the railroad and agree to meet him by the old freeway. We talk with just the nicest guy, he reveals the situation, and we take the back entrance because the illusion of choice is a bitch. Deacon informs me why we are here. We send the DARPA agents to hell, which is where all federal employees belong, am I right, fellow nutjobs? We find the prototype, Deacon gives me a gun I won't be using, and I'm inducted into the Toaster Liberation Front. I recruit and then dismiss Deacon, deliver the prototype to Dr. Carrington, who really needs to work on his bedside manner, and he sends me to talk with a paranoid toaster enthusiast. Old man Stockton is having trouble moving his cargo, and he wants me to commit murder about that. After killing my 100th rare of the day, Stockton drops off the synth, High-Rise and I escorted him through Murder Alley, it wasn't called that before, but it was when I was done with it, and drop him off at the safe house. I return to Carrington. He sends me to check on a safe house that's gone dark, and I say fuck that and talk with one of those robots that people really want to fuck. They need me to clear out the Taffington boathouse so we can use it as a safe house. I execute the malaria mites, set up some turrets that definitely won't draw any attention, and I'm finally able to track down the DIA cache. With this, I can finally make ballistic weave, so I purchased some armored military fatigues from Tinker Tom, now I look much more appropriate, and return to Virgil with the recall code. He gives me the signal interceptor plans, I get the plans to Sturgis, start building the thing, thankfully I've scavenged enough parts that I don't need to go looking for the specialty ones, and get zapped into DARPA HQ. I find my son, he's looking a lot younger than I remember him, and the agency head tells me that they have a job for me to do because I owe a lot of back taxes. I mean a lot. Like go directly to hell amounts of taxes. Not jail, hell. I introduce myself to the division heads, grab Virgil's serum, forget to give it back to him, and get told I need to capture a synth and bring it back. I upgrade my fatigues to Mark III Weave and take a walk on the beach to Libertalia. I'm forced to take down some Brotherhood Knights who are harassing X6. I guess they could smell the Institute on him, and send their vertebrate back to its natural habitat, a crash site. X6 tells me what the fuck I'm doing. I scramble the brains of these wannabe pirates, witness a plank having a stroke, and erase the mind of a synth and subject him to a lifetime of slavery. I return to the Institute, where Father gives me the task to return some runaway toasters. They're toasters. Yeah. Unfortunately for him, I already got my get out of taxes free card, so I knock on the plane of Desdemona, and when the time comes to meet up with my Institute escort, I evict his brains from his skull and rain explosive death upon my enemies. I meet with Father on the CIT rooftop, he gives a little supervillain monologue and asks me why in Atheismo's glorious name did I let the synths go. I tell him that he and his friends are morally bankrupt monsters with delusions of nobility. And that's coming from me, a serial killer. Father pisses off, I deliver the Institute network information to Sturgis, and now it's time to prepare for the ATF to try and burn my house down. I gather all the steel, circuitry, gears, and oil I can and build a bunch of heavy turrets. You see what I'm doing here? Placing them inside the walls? Yeah, that's the wrong move. I've actually never done this quest before and assumed the Institute would just teleport inside and lay waste to the place instead of a prolonged siege. Not that I need the turrets, because holy shit did my companions pull their weight and then some. Turns out when you have 13 heavily armed, trigger-happy lunatics versus a gaggle of tin men with shitty laser guns who politely wait their turn to be killed, the lunatics win. Preston informs me that Sturgis has discovered a way into the Institute, and it turns out I get to swim into the intake pipe of a nuclear reactor. Oh boy, I hope I get superpowers. I disable the laser turrets with some 308, send some synths to the scrap heap, and teleport the 60th of an hour gentleman inside. We commit some more PG-13 carnage. I blow my nuts off trying to kill some apes, convince my son to disable some of the synths. I kill him anyway, kill the synths in cool black armor that I wish you could acquire yourself, plant the bomb, take my fake son and hope he doesn't grow up to be Jamie Kennedy, and blow the Institute the fuck up. Now, this would normally be the place where I end the video, but come on, we all know there's one last thing Burt needs to do. I upgrade my ballistic weave to Mark IV and make my way over to the Nuka World Transit Center. I put some gunners in the ground, put a bullet in Harvey for luring innocent people with their deaths, and take the train to Nuka World. For once, I don't do the old peek through the door trick to skip the gauntlet, and simply use my extensive knowledge of the thing to breeze right through it. I make it to the arena, pick up the Thirst Sapper, short out Coulter's power armor, and send him to hell with my cannon. I said it once and I'll say it again. Ain't no man ever been born that can take 3 cannonballs to the chest and live. Or legs in this case. I talk with Gage, agree to meet him at the Fizz Chop Grill, and then renege on that promise and head for Dry Rock Gulch instead. Upon my arrival, I'm accosted by some goddamn graboids. Well, dirt dragons, but close enough. These pre-Cambrian dinguses make a splashy entrance, but then sort of just wiggle around on the ground and wait to be killed. I clear out the initial horde and meet with Sheriff Hawk. He wants me to help out the residents of Perfection with their problems, and I get straight to work. The giddy-up kid wants his horse back, and after killing the giant-ass crickets that rudely interrupted our conversation, I find the horse drunk in a garbage can. I return the intoxicated equestrian, and my next job is to deliver the refreshing taste of Nuka-Cola Wild to the rotting corpses of the town. I deliver the goods, blast the Smirk-Ups and Bloodworms, and One-Eyed Ike challenges me to a duel. He tells me to draw on 3, and I ignore his request and blast him in the face on 3 instead. Now I can finally do what I came here to do. End the graboid menace once and for all. I break down the door to Mad Mulligan's Mine, clear out the bloodworms, and kill the queen without killing myself in the process, giving us the ending to Shrieker Island we all wanted. Yeah, that's right, Shrieker Island, go fuck yourself. I return to Sheriff Hawk, he thanks me for my service, and I prove yes, you can beat Fallout 4 as Burt Gummer. This was fun as hell. I think I enjoy character-based runs more than weapon ones. It gives me an excuse to act in a way I wouldn't normally, even if I usually fall back into psychopathy by the end of it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Mr. Monto96, and I'll see y'all later.